talking to you about why it's necessary, very often, for the first punch to be laid out by the enemy, and why that's not the end of the story, and why everything is ended in the response and the finality of how we deal with what comes at us. Stay tuned while we hear this song called Tempest. Don't you feel like you're in a tempest? And we will be right back. That was the song Tempest off of my son's album Meditations. You see his name there, Jean-Marc Ledoux. You can find this on, I think, Google Play and all those, iTunes and all those kind of cool places. You can go to jeanmarcledoux.com. I, needed his sound this week because I just got so drained and felt so empty and sort of just like in a buzz of so much information constantly, constant, stimulation, information. I just actually had to pretty much stop caring about a lot of things that were going on and go, I don't care. I give a damn, busted, right? I can invest in quiet, in stillness, in recuperating, in listening, in just realizing I'm not the cure for cancer. Whoopi Goldberg said, I'm just a working actress. I'm not the cure for cancer. But amazingly, when we get that, we get our restoration, we realize we carry the cure for cancer, don't we? And we're kind of bouncing back. I'm reviving slowly. And so this week has been sort of this arc of dealing with this long-term issue of what we know, what we don't know. Your blood pressure just went down. That's great. Yeah. So I just kept with the theme of pieces from my son's album because it's been ministering to me. Like, I listen to this album and I just cry because I go, wow, I haven't forgotten how to love God and how to worship when I hear this music, because a lot of worship that I'm hearing right now is grating on me. A lot of rock sound are just grating. Anyway, that is such another story. I am so over it. I am so over it. We need to understand something strategic about fear-free living. Did you know that, as I have to really think this through theologically, but did you know that God seems to allow the enemy to always land an early punch in the game? Have you noticed that? Look at the very beginning. He lets the enemy land this seeming knockout punch to humanity of the fall and of deceiving Adam and Eve. Bam! Hook. This is coming from my right hand right here. Right hook. The first murder. Bam! Right? I mean, a lot of crappy stuff going on. A lot of like things. And have you noticed that we very often have the last one I saw, there was no day or time set. Did I miss another one? Oh, right. No, Juliet, here's the deal. I was reaching out to you personally because I wasn't able to get a group together. So just email me, okay? Anyways, so because I can just hang out with you a little bit if you want. Anyways, sorry, that's a sideline. Here's the deal. There's something about warfare and about our position that seems to demand that there's an inciting evil incident in a storyline, bam, that throws things off kilter. And in a good story, it is the response to the inciting incident, to that first punch landed, to that thing that goes so very wrong, that winds up shaping the entire story and turns little, unsuspecting underdog character into the hero. Or even somebody you expect to be a hero getting taken out early in the game. I find that what I experience on a daily basis, you get up, you're just minding your own business, and a left hook comes out of somewhere very often, and we will step back into a defensive posture of intimidation, discouragement. Oh my gosh, here it is again. Stuff happens. We get, a report about somebody, like the whole AG bar thing, or how many times in the 17th letter of the alphabet movement that we have had something come up that shook us because it seemed like somebody landed a real punch to the gut or to the face in the process of, we were like, hey, we got this plan, trust the plan, things are happening, we're digital soldiers, we're doing our part, we're working hard, we're doing the kingdom thing, and then bam, and there's a sense in which this is all divine, because what does God like to do? He likes to draw our enemies out into the open so they can be seen very clearly. So in fear-free living, let's bring it back to that. Minding your own business, and out of nowhere comes the hook, the gut punch of something that terrifies you, something that scares you, something that affirms a position you have, a belief you have. And it's like, yeah, I should just never try. That's me. I'm the underdog. I'm the one who always gets screwed. I never win. I can't leave the house. I can't do this. I'm not good at confrontation. I'm just always going to be this way, right? Why does that happen? Because those early first punches are the tell of the strategy and positioning of the enemy. And when God allows the enemy to land a punch occasionally, or and again, we can talk a lot about defensive weaponry and all these things. I'm just kind of painting a picture for you today. So just stay with me if you can. There's this thing where the enemy he lands a punch, and it seems to resonate within us in a place of fear, discouragement, doubt, and weakness, right? And we tend to stop the story right there. Well, there he did it. There he had it. He got it. There it is again. Oh, bam. Yesterday, I went out with a friend and we knocked on 25 doors in our community in a stealthy, wonderful project we're working on. And it was good because y'all know my energies have been low, and I kind of wanted to hide under the bed in some ways this week. But I was out there, and on my way, I bumped into some terrified people. One lady would only open her door, literally, look here, this much, like so terrified. I was praying for her, and I got an email back. It was a very nice email, but it was kind of like by the way, remember, you need to wear a mask and save a life. And bam, oh, here it is again. Bam, that propagandized view, that fear-filled view. Bam. Oh, some of us are releasing our energy and our strength. And I was, I'm a very good person. I don't get in people's personal space. I respect where they're coming from. But these things come up. Something you see in the news, bam, it just hits you in the gut. Here and here and here. And it's like the enemy gets to land punches. Have you noticed that? And it feels upsetting. But what the Lord was showing me, and there's a theme in all of my periscopes, my live streams this week. If you don't follow me, by the way, when our friend Dave Hayes tweets us out, we look like, mega stars. The rest of the time, it's me and a few good friends just talking about life. I'm intensely mentoring a small group of people most of the time, which is awesome, because actually it's in the small group of people that the deeper changes are made, right? But we do these things here. And if you're not following me personally, you're going to miss a lot of great personal mentoring. And you can do Julie_Lavender at Twitter. You can look for Julie Lavender on CloutHub, on Parler. There's 2 Julie Lavenders on Parler. But see what I look like? You can, if I know you're not a weirdo, I'll friend you on Facebook if you send me a friend request. And my live streams are there. If you go to julielavender.com, my daily mentoring broadcasts are always up there. And that'll give you in the flow of what we've talked about, because this week has been a flow, the ebb and flow of knowing where we're going and just being really tired, being drained, being like the balloon with the air out of it. And what do we do about living in a consistent place of unknown, the challenge of what we don't know? And somebody said today, maybe it was, I don't know who it was, maybe it was Dead Sheets, I don't know. He said, oh, I always know God's going to win. No, it was Curry Blake. He said, God always wins. I just have no idea how he's going to get it done. I have no idea how this is going to play out, but I know we always win. I love him. I think we should be listening to a lot of Curry Blake right now. Guys, seriously, he breaks it down in the best way. But my point is this. There is like this assault, there's this attack, and it always draws the enemy out into the open. It always exposes something about the enemy and his plan and how he is strategically working against us. And even though it's really painful to have to deal with the discomfort, it's part of a greater strategy, okay, of what God allows to happen that then outs him. And one of the most important things that happens when a punch comes your way, or a hit comes your way, or an influence comes your way that makes you gonna go, ugh, hits you wrong, is it will expose what you're believing about what just happened. It will expose what you think about your capability in dealing with it. It will expose what your deepest, darkest assessments and presuppositions are about any situation. The enemy's attack is less important than what you think about it, and what I think about it, and what we believe about it, which is why people that are mentoring us in calmness, Dave did a really great, I didn't get to hear the whole thing, but he was talking about what he thought about the AG Barr thing. We have sort of a 48-hour to 72-hour rule with bad news. We should just go, that's interesting, and leave it alone. Back off. Go back to the good news. Go back to the stability. Go back to the fact that God is winning, and let the Holy Spirit raise to the surface the way in which we have a presupposition about our response to it. Normally, out of my anxiousness, I want to go very fast. Somebody says something to me I don't like, I want to email them right away and get it fixed. I want to respond to try to immediately create some stasis, some safety, some stability, and to defend myself. And when I think about that, like for example, I get this email from this gal today. My first thought was, oh, there's another one. And this is small. I'm giving you small pieces because small pieces can teach us a lot about big, huge issues, right? Okay. And then I said, wait a minute. I don't need to respond. I got time. I'm okay. I went and did some other things. Percolated, let the Holy Spirit move. And then started to rise to the surface, because then God is sifting The punch comes your way into your environment, takes your energy out. Some influence pulls the air out of your sails, the wind out of your sails, discourages, depresses you, makes you anxious. Stop. Let Holy Spirit begin to tell you and teach you and expose how much you believe the wrong stuff about what happened to you and what's possible for you. And so that moves us into the over it world. I'm so over it. You see, we're supposed to be, let's make sure we're still on here. Wow, okay. We're supposed to be overcomers. I'm coming over. Overgoers. I'm going over, right? I am overriding that. I'm overruling that. I'm overwhelming that. I'm overpowering that. I'm overcoming. I'm coming over. And this is actually the more powerful position. Because like when somebody comes out of you, first of all, it never, as we get stronger and stronger and more healed from our inner stimuli, we won't necessarily jump to catastrophe every time something goes sideways. I talked about that yesterday. I talked about how if you'll do a series of right things to learn how to do things even when you're scared and learn how to address roots, your body actually will develop new wiring so you don't automatically and psychosomatically respond with panic and anxiety over every negative thing that happens to you. That was a great scope yesterday. So if you missed it, you should go back and watch it, or you'll find it on my Twitter feed too, or at julielavender.com, okay? But the thing of it is that you don't have to always sink to the catastrophe and catastrophize everything that happens, and there it is. That, my friends, changes over time as we really deal with what we believe on a deeper level. But say something happens and you've got this reaction to it. The most important and the most powerful thing in any story is how the hero rises from the inciting incident to clap back decisively, because the hero is transformed in that process and winds up having the greater arc of victory in the end. That's who we are. That's why the most fun thing is to start out in a day and to have experienced somebody landing a punch or feeling like they landed a punch. And then to pull back and go, wow, I hated that. I didn't like that. Tempted to be discouraged, tempted to be depressed, tempted to be anxious about that one. Well, I wonder how we're going to totally overrule that one, override that one, overcome it, go over it, sweep over it, rise above and over it. I wonder what cool, unexpected thing is now in play for me after that downer that puts me in the greatest position of strength of the two of us. You see, when people are reacting to us and people are yelling at us and people are attacking us, it actually means they're coming out of great weakness and threat, fear, and the need to control. Why does anybody have a strong, compelling need to control? It's always fear-based. It's always fear-based and bitterness-based very often. But pain, creating anger and bitterness, is a fear cycle, because people don't want to be in pain. They're afraid of being in pain again. So they use anger and bitterness and control to protect themselves against what? Pain, which is an activity of fear. Okay? So very often when we are attacked, it's the whole thing over the target, right? Why are certain things attacked, censored, removed? It makes us feel small. It makes us feel like the enemy landed a punch. Another one bites the dust. Another post is censored. Another person hates me. Another person is picking on me. Another person is this or that. Why? Because the focus against us, against those things, is fear-based. And when the punch gets landed and when the negative thing happens. And when the diminishment comes upon us, when the attempt to sideline us or destroy us or hurt us or harm us or shut us up happens, when we're really clear, we'll understand that weapon, that arrow came from a place of fear in the person who launched it. Have you noticed that God's weapons are not flesh and blood, which means they are not subject to our small-minded thinking, defeatist, anxious, terrorized perspectives. They are mighty to the pulling down of strongholds. God's weapons are the weapons of love, of security, of peace, of laughter, of joy, of clear thinking, of strategies that bring possibility, of overcoming, overruling, overwhelming, overriding, overpowering, sweeping over. This is who we are. This is who we are. When we get this, we can experience the pain and fear of the punch, but we can hold our peace and go, wow, there's a lot of possibilities that just opened up for me because the enemy landed, did his thing, shot at me when I was too close to the target, too threatening to something. Somebody's demon manifested because I walked in the room and I wasn't conforming. Wow. The enemy's afraid. When is the enemy not afraid? Can the enemy ever, can a demon ever, can even the little Lucy himself, can he ever not be afraid? Can he? I maintain, my friends, that there is no real, true confidence in the enemy's kingdom, ever. Because he's defeated. He knows he's defeated. He knows the end of the story. And even though he comes on with force, control, an attempt to intimidate and terrorize us, that's only because that's who he is. Intimidated, terrorized, loser. So I'm going to submit to you the people that are shooting at us, the people in family settings that are reacting to us, the people who are in highly addicted situations where there's abuse and enabling, situations where the negative report comes about something going on. Why? Because why would a news media need to control everything? Because they're afraid of losing control. Why would there need to be a rush to a president because there's a fear of the truth? Why would someone need to attack me out of nowhere in the grocery store over what I do or don't look like and am or am not wearing? Because they're afraid. Because they're uncomfortable. Because they're in a position of weakness. And they sense it and they don't like it and they use aggression in an attempt to hold the high ground. But who holds the high ground? Who has the overcoming potential? We do. Because we overcome by what? The blood of the Lamb. That's love. That's authority. That's security. That's the last word. The blood of the Lamb. The word of our testimony. What is in a testimony? Faith, hope, truth. Again, love, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, creativity, self-control. All things that have the highest level of dominance in the spiritual world. And that we love not our lives unto death. The blood of the Lamb, the word of our testimony, love not our lives unto death. I'm dead. Can't really kill me. Oh, I know you could be mad at me. You could do a lot of things to me. Threaten me with heaven. I'm on my way. Strength, 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 strength. And what I'm learning to do, my friends, is to absorb a punch and deflect what I don't need to own. Like I learned last week when I got accosted in the store. I learned I wasn't ashamed. I learned The best shot. Watch somebody give you their best shot. Let it, every once in a while, God needs us to actually experience the best shot Satan had in that situation. The best shot, the lowest thing somebody could say or do to us. Sometimes we actually have to experience that. Look it in the eyes and go, that's all you got? That's it? Wow. Didn't hit, didn't land in the sense that it didn't resonate. I absorbed something, but I have the armor of God. But in terms of my core, wow, that was... And in the end, even the deepest blows and the most terrifying things, and a loss of a loved one, even those things that seem to land so much more deeply than we can even cope with, even those things, if we will wait, God will show us the over it, how to get over it. See, God's way is not just get over it, just get over it. People say that, like just let it go, let it go. That when people tell you, stop being afraid, or just you're bitter at somebody, they just go, let it go, just get over it. They don't really mean get over it. They mean go passive and just try not to think about it. Try to focus your mind somewhere else. Because to really get over something means to do the work of climbing it, of dealing with it, of understanding it, of substituting truth for lies and God's reality for the enemies, and landing our own punches and doing our own assaults and offensive moves to own the ground. To really get over something is a process of responsibility, a process of stewardship, a process of creativity, and a process of curiosity. What's possible for me now that I got that email that landed a little bit of a dark moment in my day? When I let it go, the Lord began to say, hey, actually she set herself up for you to speak into her life. She didn't know that. She was putting up her defenses like, hey, I need you to conform, so I'm going to tell you how to conform. And the Lord gave me the most creative, beautiful idea, so within an hour or so, I'm typing a response that is going to wind up pulling the, God willing, pulling the rug out from under the fear that controls her. Pulling out a linchpin so that a structure falls and I can just go over it. I go over it with my love. I go over it with my creativity. I go over it with my communication. I go over it with loving confrontation. I go over, I get over it. I'm over it. Are you over it? It's a lot like we've talked about in the past when I tell you guys, I refuse to lose. I don't know how it's going to work, but I refuse to lose. And even on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday of this week when I was tired and feeling empty and like, shut up, everybody. I can't handle any more news. I can't even handle any more prophecies. I can't handle any more pearl clutching and anxiety. Just be quiet. I'm taking a nap. Leave me alone. Yes, I'll pray, but maybe for just about 4 minutes at a time. And then, and all of that. You can be in all these various places being very emotionally honest and still refuse to lose because there's always going to be a way over. God will teach you and me in our present circumstances how to override what the enemy just did, how to overrule what just happened, to overwhelm the situation with contagious hope and peace and faith and creativity, to overpower the darkness, to sweep over, to hop over, to jump over, to overcome. And I just want to be, as I close today, I want to read you the definition of overcoming in the synonyms. To get the better of, to overcome, defeat. Synonyms. Surmount, overwhelm, overcome, subdue, overpower, defeat, get the better of, sweep over, overtake. That's a good one. I'm going to write that down. Overtake. Chasten, cut through, bounce back, get over, overwhelm, master, conquer, quash, scale, surmount. Some of these I've repeated. Dominate, suppress, outmatch, exceed, outgo, outperform, outstrip, crucify, subjugate, get the hang of, reduce, control, surpass, subdue, stamp down, traverse, subordinate, tamp down, tame, pass over, outdo, cross over, overtake. I have overtake down here. I gotta write overtake. Yeah, I just wrote that one down. Have the best. That's a lot of great ways to go from having, like, feeling defeated, feeling like the enemy landed a punch, landed an attack, crapped on the living room of your life one day or in a moment. You step back and you go, that was just act one. That's the inciting incident of today's story. But I'm going to tell you, by the end of the day, I refuse to lose. By the end of the day, I'm the winner. I'm the winner. I'm going to watch. I'm going to wait. I'm going to let the Lord show me what I can learn about the enemy and what I believe about the enemy and what gives that power so I can get that back and then head right back into that circumstance when the time is right, when the wind is in my sails, when the direction is headed in the right place, when the adjustments have been made, when the timing is right. I am going to do all these over things: overtaking, overpowering, overwhelming, overruling, overriding, overcoming. And if you notice, none of these words makes any sense if there wasn't already something negative that happened. There's no overtaking if somebody didn't jump ahead in the race and leave you in the dust. That word makes no sense if there wasn't somebody out there you had to catch up with. Overriding doesn't make any sense as a word if there wasn't an action that was negative that has to be changed. Overruling doesn't make any sense unless there was a ruling that was unrighteous or unhelpful that has to be taken down. Overwhelming doesn't really make sense unless there's something already out there that needs to be superseded. The word overpowering, again, doesn't make any sense unless there's already a power that's done something that needs a response. So part of living fear-free is to realize no matter what happened to us, we get to go back, circle back, and do the over thing. To over it. To get over it. To defeat it until we end the day in the position of dominance from love and peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, self-control. So the enemy lands a punch, or it feels like he does. So it seems like something happened that was bad. So it seems like that report was really negative. Here we go again. So it seems like something was damaging, upsetting, frustrating, fear-inducing. So what? That's the pattern of Scripture. The enemy lands his punch. And guess, Adam and Eve, let's go back to that. First of all, the enemy lands a devastating punch that plays itself out in humanity for what? Just a couple thousand years, But who comes? Second Adam. The whole story winds up being the overcoming, overruling, overriding, overwhelming, overpowering, overtaking story of the Master and who he is in us and how now we take it all back. We take the earth back, right? And may I remind you that if there wasn't a master plan first, none of this would be possible. So while it feels like the enemy's hitting us first, and that's how it kind of practically plays out in our day-to-day life, that he seems to show up and mess things up. In the aggregate, if you pull up, you'll see that there is none of this without a superintending master plan where God was the first cause. He was the creator. He put into the DNA of the earth his super powerful, ultimate overcoming plan before the enemy even was a created being. God always goes first. He is the first and the last. For us right now, let's just focus on fear-free last words. Fear-free last acts of the day. Whatever it started out for you today, end it with the overcoming. End it with the last word of victory, even if you're not quite sure how it's going to turn out. Okay? So that means we got to go do some things that scare us. Got to face some things. We got to get over by actually doing the work. Let's do it. The enemy's going to land his punches, and we're going to overrule, override, overwhelm, overpower, overtake, overcome. Right? I'm so over it. How about you?